Let's go, bro. What is good, chat? Y'all ready to react to this video? I think it's about to be fun. Honestly. Realized the flaw in that. My bad. Yeah, sorry, I had to get my little chat set up first. My bad. Dang, streaming recently has been pretty rough because my Wi-Fi has been pretty bad. But now we're back in business. But let's get started. I think this video is very interesting. I'm gonna watch this. I love this guy's videos.
Oh, Tucker doesn't have it in him. Tucker doesn't have the balls to make merch. Well, what's all this? Huh? What's all this then? Hey guys, I made merch. Some of you were asking for that, and there's a store for it here. I made it specifically timed so that no one could get it for Black Friday or Christmas, so that was cool of me. But I have merch now, so if you want to check that out, link in the bio. So, quick fun fact. There are 7 continents on this earth, if you did. So we got North America, South America, Australia, Europe, and Asia. I feel like those two should be the same continent. Last but not least, we have Antarctica, the basement of our planet, and something that people talk about, wasteland that no one lives on, and there is good reason for that. The continent is a desert somehow, and it has volcanoes as well, and it has a river of blood. So, we'll get into that later. Nations don't even fight for it. Can you imagine that? Land that white people don't want. Instead, a bunch of countries signed the Antarctic Treaty in 1959 saying legally that they don't really want it, that you guys can have it, don't worry about it, because the cold isn't even...
Imagine a land being so bad that all of the nations on the earth, like all the technology we got and stuff, and how much of stuff we fought over, you don't want it. That's how you know it's just bad, which realistically the only thing that inhabits Antarctica is very few creatures. It's like what, penguins, sea lions probably, I don't know, polar bears, I don't know.
Even the worst thing about Antarctica. You know what is the worst thing? Everything else about it. Welcome to hell. It has penguins. Who would have thought? So Antarctica is a science that deserves the southernmost spot on this planet we call Earth. Because as we all know, the deeper south you go, the closer to hell you get. That's a fact. That's a certified snap. Let's just talk about the most horrifying facts I could find about this sub-temperature hellhole we call an entire continent. Hi, baby. I love you. Number 1 is the fact that no one's home. No one lives there. And that's, if you think about it, that's pretty creepy. It's a whole ass continent that nobody lives on. There's not one native population to Antarctica because it's unlivable. And it's a big part of this Earth. The average temperature on the interior of the continent, are you falling? The average temperature on the interior of this continent is negative 71 degrees Fahrenheit. What? That's insane. Also, for the rest of this video, I will be using Fahrenheit and not Celsius because I watched enough Top Gear and got confused enough where I feel like I deserve this. I feel like to give a little revenge to people who don't live in America. The shit is so bad that the researchers and scientists have to get their appendixes removed before they go there for an extended period of time. Because if their appendix decides to get all inflamed and burst, then they're shit out of luck because no one is there to help them for miles and miles and miles and miles. You are alone. You might as well be on the fucking moon. You might as well be on the moon when you're in Antarctica because it's easier to get to people. Number 2. The sun gives up. The sun gives up down there. It just stops working. The idea of circadian rhythm is non-existent in this hellscape. Antarctica, fun fact, has 1 sunset a year. 1. And then the sun...
Yeah, that would really mess up your perception of time. Imagine living there, like with all the technology we have now, realistically, we could for like a little while. Imagine living there for like a few months and then coming back. Your sleep schedule would be horrible. realistically, yeah, you would probably sleep. You might be sleeping like 12 hours a day and not even knowing it. You might be going to sleep at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Little symptom called, and this is not a joke, polar madness. Symptoms of polar madness include, but are not limited to, sleep disorders, anxiety, depression, memory impairment, and
Yeah, sleep disorders. Shit, that would be so common if anyone lived there. Like, bruh. I feel like then you would only sleep when you're tired. Cause you, like, there would be no, like, day-night cycle. You would just sleep like, I feel kind of tired right now. You could have been awake for, like, 2 days and not even noticed it.
and intellectual inertia, whatever the fuck that means, and anywhere between 40 and 60. It is omnipotent. You cannot run from the darkness. It is relentless. In 1983, a Chilean doctor had a case of polar madness so bad that he just set his entire research facility ablaze, lit it on fire because he just could not understand the concept of what he was doing. Am I conveying how fucking scary?
Like, oh, what's up to the stream? Welcome. But, bro, he was so insane because of how the day-night cycle worked that he burnt his own research facility down. The whole reason he went there was to research Antarctica, and he burnt the facility down because of how insane he was going.
This place is yet. Number 3, this bitch got volcanoes. I mentioned it earlier, but it has volcanoes.
Yeah, the volcanoes and an ice continent. Like, a continent made completely out of ice.
There are 138 volcanoes in Antarctica. You'd think an entire continent devoted to ice wouldn't have these things, but old Antarctica has her ways. Luckily, 91 of them are under ice. But unluckily, if one of those things goes off under the ice, then it's gonna have devastating effects on our climate. Just a straight up cataclysmic state if one of those things pops off. So fingies crossed. But there's also a huge volcano above ground too, if you guys were wondering, called Mount Erebus, and it's super active. That's sick. The summit has a lake of lava that has been flowing since the 70s. So it's the only place on Earth that you can go sledding next to a pool of lava. Science be damned. Also, the ozone hole that we created that everyone was worried about, and it's slowly closing due to humans being cool about it, but it's still existing somewhere. And where does it exist, Tucker? Antarctica, that's correct. So if you happen to go during the day, in those 6 months that it's daytime, your skin will fry like fried chicken under the UV radiation, so that's sick. And also, I didn't have a place to put this fact in the rest of the video, but in the 1910s, a researcher went to Antarctica to study the penguins, and their sexual behaviors were so sick and depraved that he had to write his research in Greek alphabetical code so that the common public could not see what he was writing because they were doing some fucked up shit to penguins. The penguins were doing this shit to penguins. Necrophilia, like fucked up shit. So Antarctica is scary enough on its own. It's dark, it's cold, the visibility from the weather is non-existent, so you can't see 3 feet in front of you most of the time.
Wait, is my mic good? I think it's pretty good. I would hope so. I'm gonna like move it slightly closer. I think that's like, yeah, that's good.
No polar bears, those are in the top of the earth, but there are leopard seals, and those things aren't so chill, notably. But on top of that, there are several nightmare landmarks that you can find in this shit show of a freezer. Truly, Antarctica was God's New Mexico, just doing experiments and consequences be damned. Number 1, we have the singing ice wall. Well, that sounds nice. That sounds sweet. I know it's not gonna be, but it sounds nice right now. So there's this thing called the Ross Ice Shelf, right? Now, it appears just to be a massive slab of ice, but it is not just a massive slab of ice. It's also a container of the souls of the damned. And boy, do they like to gossip. Wind blows across the icy dunes at a certain angle, which creates vibrations and also seismic tones. The waves are at a frequency that can't be heard by humans, but we have figured out how to hear it through, technology, and my God. Let's give it a listen, shall we? Okay, did Squimpus McGrimpus take inspiration from this? Why does Antarctica have analog horror soundscapes? The reason why we listen to this is because scientists...
Imagine if some horror games actually got their soundtrack from Antarctica. Honestly, that wouldn't be that bad because it's pretty scary.
Can determine whether the ice shelf is going to collapse or not by listening to these sounds, so that's good. It's just literally a harbinger of terrible things to come. God damn. Number 2 is the Blood Falls. Remember from earlier? I spoke about it. So this is a waterfall, and that's pretty much it. That's all I gotta say. The Taylor Glacier in Antarctica has this deep river of red that flows through it. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what it is. I mean, technically it's iron salts that's pulled from the ice, and then when oxygen reacts to it, it turns red. But for 106 years, scientists had no idea. It looked and acted just like blood. So they just said whatever. They didn't tell the public. This seems like a scientific explanation of some shit that people don't actually understand. I refuse to believe that this is not blood. That's a blood river in Antarctica. Number 3, there's underground unfrozen lakes, which makes zero fucking sense to me. There are almost 400 subglacial lakes in Antarctica. That was a hard sentence to say. These lakes remain liquid even though they're under larger sheets of ice because apparently laws of physics do not apply to Antarctica. The biggest subglacial lake is Lake Vostok. It is 2 miles under all that ice, and scientists believe it's over 15 million years old. So, there's no way a monster doesn't live in that lake. There is no way a monster is not creeping under there. And finally, number 4, and what scares me the most is that big fucking hole. There's just a big fucking hole in Antarctica. In the 1970s, scientists discovered something called the Weddell Paulinia, whatever, a hole the size of New Zealand in Antarctica. Here's a picture of New Zealand, if you need scale. And the scientists, well, they had no fucking clue why it was there. No big deal, just ice breaking all laws of physics again. It's chill. And then in 1976, it disappeared. Vanished. Which is way more scary. But don't worry, this giant question of a landmark showed back up. In 2017, it reappeared. Why the fuck would it do that? With over 40 years of technological advancements, scientists are just now beginning to understand why this thing exists at all. And by scientific advancements, I mean they're putting high-tech cameras on the heads of baby seals. That's what they're doing. We are so fucked. So this is a Big Tug video, and it wouldn't be a Big Tug video if I don't talk about the aminals. In the spirit of full disclosure, Antarctica has penguins. Like 20 million penguins. And I love penguins. Penguins are chill, not the weird ones that I talked about earlier, but most penguins are dope. But we're not gonna talk about the penguins, because that wouldn't be fun for you guys. It would be fun for me. It wouldn't be fun for you guys. Today we're discussing the worst alien demons that have ever walked this earth. And luckily they all tend to
That's gotta be some distant, like, relative of the elephant. You know, like
Today we're discussing the
look at that. I mean, the bottom of it looks like the bottom of my shoe, but like why does it look high? I'm gonna be honest. Why does it look high? Like, look at its eyes. But you see the vision, like its nose looks just like an elephant trunk.
Worst alien demons that have ever walked this earth. And luckily they all tend to reside in Shitholeville, aka Antarctica. Goddamn do I hate this place. Up first we have the Antarctic strawberry feather star. Now that sounds adorable and cute, but you and I both know that this is gonna be the worst thing you've ever seen in your life. With a cute name like that, you know that the ichthyologists were having a ball of a time making a joke out of this thing, because this is what it looks like. Whoa! This shit makes me sick, guys. This shit makes me physically ill to look at. The sea creature looks like a cross between a jellyfish and the weird fucked up fingers of the soap lady. It has 20 arms, which is too many arms, that can grow up to 8 inches in length from a body that looks like a collection of haunted suction cups. What the fuck is this thing? Some of their arms have feathers. Some of them are bumpy. Truly a tactile choose your own adventure book. Oh, and it has claws. It has claws on its bottom, so if it wasn't already a nightmare. It just looks like living VD, and I wish to discuss it no longer. Then we have the scale worm. Ooh. Let's go back to the weird feather thing. This water worm is flat, it is the size of a squirrel, and it looks like it has teeth all over its body. Jesus Christ. I mean, what makes this a worm? It does not look like any worm that I've ever seen before in my life. It looks like a low-level enemy in Half-Life. Its head is at its tail, it has no eyes, and it has a retractable mouth tube full of needle teeth. Fuck! Scientists don't really know what it eats, but they do think it hunts. They think it's a predator. Good, it hunts. Good. It can hunt you. It can hunt me. It will continue to hunt. We have the blackfin icefish. This 2.5-foot fish has no scales. Its head looks like a crocodile. Its bones are transparent. Its blood is clear and contains no hemoglobin. They have no idea how this fish gets oxygen to its brain. They don't understand this fish. Its body is literally full of antifreeze, like that shit you put in your car when it gets too cold. It is an anemic ghost crocodile that haunts the worst parts of this earth, and I do not trust it, and I don't want to see it anymore. We have the Death Star. Too many things on this thing, I would say. Technically, this monstrosity is called the Antarctic Sun Starfish, but the scientists who first discovered it called the Death Star, and that's what we're gonna call it. It's 2 feet in width and has up to 50 arms. 50. There's not one thing on this earth that needs 50.
Yeah, 50. That's like, what does it use the other 48 for?
50 fucking arms. Its entire body is covered in jaw-like structures that snatches anything that comes near it. It's literally nature's bear trap, except it's fleshy and wiggly. And I'm really struggling with this segment, you guys. This is like one of the worst ones I've done. Finally, we have the Antarctic sea spider, and I'm not even gonna look at it. It's the size of a fucking chihuahua. It's got no face and 5 pairs of legs, and all of its organs live inside of its legs. Scientists don't know why they exist. They're not related to any other animal on Earth, and they've been around for 400 million years. And they exist only to spite me. And yet we all keep pretending like everything's okay. We keep going to work, we keep paying our taxes, and these things exist. This thing specifically exists. You know, go to bed. Everything's okay.
Alright, that one was pretty good. This guy's, I mean, he's really funny, if I'm being honest. Like, I got like some video. Yeah, a little rumbling segment there for y'all. I had some videos picked out that I wanted to react to. This ain't another big tug.
Are you happy and content with your day-to-day life? Do you feel
This is another big tug video. It's also pretty good.
like your mental health is relatively stable? Do you clock in and out at your 9-to-5 job, happy as a clam, just excited for whatever adventure tomorrow may bring? Might I suggest thinking about outer space, because that'll f things up pretty good. Personally, I think we all take the concept of outer space for granted. It's something that we all learned really early on in life, so we're all just kind of used to it. But much like microwaves or giraffes, the reality of the situation is a lot more scary than we think it is. So I just want to talk about all the things about space that makes my therapist a rich man, and I want to try and scare you guys as well. Not because I want to push any ill will upon my viewers, I just want you guys to understand me when I say that the sun is too hot. The sun is too hot. It's like 10 microwaves hot. So let's just talk about the basic facts of outer space that make me question the will of whatever omnipotent being is pulling my wet puppet strings. Disclaimer, all of these facts I have learned against my will. And the only way I continue going on in this mortal coil is to completely ignore these facts immediately after they exit my mouth. So you'll see me disassociate several times throughout this video. Number 1, sun's gonna die at one point. I can't mentally handle that. I think this is something we all know. But Jesus Christ, it's really hard to think about. I mean, it loses 1 billion pounds every second. That's not a made-up fact. It is shedding weight like Christian Bale getting ready for a movie. And then I think about the situation and I'm like, well, it's a long time from now. Human beings will develop some spaceships or some shit and we'll get out of here, right? But then I remember it's gonna die in 10 billion years. And then I think, no way humans are gonna last that long because we're gonna blow each other up first. Then it gets sad.
Yeah, realistically, like what he's saying, we're never gonna last 10 billion years. Lucky to last 10 million, alright? By 10 billion years, if we do last that long, unlikely, we would probably, I assume, already having a spaceship that could get us. But you guys do realize the closest star, because if the sun dies, that's all source of heat, we would not have another planet in our little solar system to go to. We'd have to go to another one. And the closest star away, I'm pretty sure it's like 5 billion, not 5 billion, it's 5 light years away. I don't know why I said 5 billion. It's 5 light years. And I don't know if y'all know how long that would take to reach. That would take like it depends. There's no way we could survive going light speed or make spaceships to go light speed. Our fastest like probe right now, I don't know what it's called. I seen it in a Joe Bart video today. I don't know what it's called. It's something one. I think we got 2 of them. It goes 38,000 miles per hour, and it's been going for a while, and it has 1.7 light years away from the closest star, and it's still going to take it 40,000 years to reach. Right? So imagine 5 light years. It's going to be almost 200,000 years, if not more. If not more than 200,000 years. So we'd all be dead by the time we got to a new place. Anyway, so
Number 2, it seems like everything explodes in outer space. Stars explode, galaxies explode, and I'm pretty sure the moon's gonna explode. I don't have any scientific base for that, but everything's terrible, so why not? And when these things do explode, it's not a little personal issue that they have. They take out everything around them really quickly. When a galaxy explodes, and I don't even understand that concept, it releases a burst of gamma rays that is so powerful it just eliminates planets in its way. I don't even know what a gamma ray is. Why is it so powerful? Number 3, black holes are mobile. Black holes can move around. That one's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, most of them are stationary, but scientists have found one that's moving 3 million miles per hour. How fun. Just a rapid machine that's chewing up everything around it, time and space, just eating it like it's a snack. And it might be heading towards us, who fucking knows? Oh, and the moon's getting further away every year. That's dope, that's fantastic. Just every day slipping out of our little human...
Yeah, the moon is moving away, but like by micro amounts each year. By the time the moon going out of our orbit is a problem, will be, like I said, by the time like that little probe reaches the new star, like 40,000, it probably still won't even be a problem then. Like, how little it's moving away is at least 100,000 years. At least like 100,000.
Grasps just gonna go off and do its own adventure, which is a cute little idea until you realize the Earth's gonna become an onslaught of tidal waves and confused raccoons that are looking for food in the middle of the day because they don't know what happened to the moon. Oh, how about the fact that Earth is slowing down every year? It slows down a little bit, so days get a little bit longer every year. How fun. I don't know about you guys, but I think days are long enough, god damn it. Entropy is a son of a bitch. Everything just stops after a while. Oh my god. And how about meteors, dude? What the fuck is that? I don't know anything about any kind of science, but the fact that we have not been hit by a big enough rock to eliminate us, like the dinosaurs, well, I mean, it's just a matter of time, right? This shit can happen at any time. We can all just explode. You just get a call from the government saying, hey, you got 5 minutes, and then boom. And you expect me to keep paying my taxes. Fuck you. And I guess the moon's actually shaped more like a lemon than a ball, which is not that scary, but the fact that no one told me that makes me real nervous. And what the fuck is antimatter? Why are there so many news stories about antimatter? Why did we just discover this unmeasurable effect across all of the universe? We just found out it's affected by gravity. I don't know how they figured that out. I mean, scientists don't know anything. They actually don't know anything. I'm gonna talk about that now. So if the only crumb of hope you're holding on to right now is the fact that, well, scientists know a lot of stuff about outer space, so I don't have to worry about it, you'd be an idiot. You'd be a dumb idiot. Yeah, scientists know a lot about space, but they know a lot less than what they know about in space. It's like a 1-to-3 ratio of shit they understand. So I just want to call out all the stuff in the universe that we really don't have a full grasp on, and hopefully that'll get Neil deGrasse Tyson off his lazy ass and to get him to work. Number 1, black holes. Mention them.
Bruh, stop picking on poor Neil. Poor Tyson. Poor Mr. Tyson.
Earlier, we don't...
He was the greatest commentator of Ice Age ever. They could have not got anyone else to commentate on that show. Neil Tyson was that was what made the Ice Age movies. That commentary was amazing, and the fact is he actually knew what he was talking about. Didn't just read it off the paper.
have any idea what's going on there. We hear about him a lot in movies.
Probably had a script, but he probably knew what he was talking about though.
In TV shows, so we just assume it's like a well-known, thing in the universe. But no, it's an enigma. We have no fucking clue why they happen. We don't know how they're formed. I mean, we have an idea of like a star collapsing on itself, and then, that's the theory. But that's the theory. We've never seen it happen, nor do we have any real structural evidence for it. You're gonna hear that a lot in this video, by the way. It's a theory. I don't want theory, I want facts. I don't want just some, oh, maybe this happened. I don't want any of that from a nerd scientist. I want you to show me the numbers. And we don't understand what happens when anything goes into a black hole. You might turn into a spaghetti strand of a human being that's stretching across time and space, one of the most horrific ways to die, or you may... I'm so scared. I curse the name of Isaac Newton. I could have been ignorant to all this. I could have been a monkey happy banging a rock against a bigger rock, and now I have to worry about ripples in space-time. Also, there's this thing called the... slowly moving towards... well, not slowly, it's moving really fast.
Oh, you're moving really fast, but it's such a long distance. Our great grandkids ain't even gonna have to deal with this. I say this, you're probably not gonna have any. Nah, I'm gonna have to be worrying about the Great Attractor.
But we're all moving towards this center spot, and I don't know what's gonna happen when we get there. No one knows what happens when we get there. I'm assuming it's gonna be God, and I'm assuming he's gonna be angry. And finally, we have the ultimate fate of the universe, which we don't know what's gonna happen. But do your homework, don't worry.
Also, welcome to the stream.
about it. We know the universe is constantly expanding, but after that little factoid, we don't know anything. Will the universe just continue to expand until we're all so far apart?
No, I seen a theory today. What if it just keeps expanding and collapses and expands again? What if we're already on like the 10th freaking cycle? I seen that theory on Joe Bart today. That's so smart, but at the same time, I like really wonder if it's true. Like, what if we're already on like the 10th, 20th cycle of the universe?
That there's infinite nothingness, that's fun, that's not scary at all. Or will it begin to contract and everything melts together into one fiery, hot, massive ball that just begins the universe once again? Also horrifying. Or the most fun option of all is number 3, which is no idea. Some random shit might happen.
Yeah, that's the best one. Just no idea. Yeah, you just stay ignorant to it, I guess. I don't know. That could be a good thing or a bad thing.
A dragon might come out of a portal and just start spitting out new life forms. We have no clue. We had know so little about the universe. So I started to have a little bit of a panic attack at the end of that last one, so I wanted to lighten the mood by Googling funny planets that are around the universe, because there's gotta be a couple of them, right? No, I thought there'd be a moment of brevity in this hellscape of a universe, but it turns out every planet is just its own version.
No, every uninhabitable planet is just terrifying. There's always something wrong with them.
Of hell. All of them have different characteristics that are a masochist's wet dream. So let's just go over them now and hopefully I can get through it without crying. We have one called HD 189733b, or Blue Hell if you're not a nerd. It's 63 light years away and they call it Blue Hell because it's got this really pretty blue color. And if you thought this place was just a big blue ocean planet that you can go swimming in, you'd be wrong because it's over 1,000 degrees Celsius. And I don't even want to know the Fahrenheit because then I'll have a better American understanding of the situation and I don't need that. It also constantly is windy up to speeds of 500 miles per hour, and it rains glass sideways. My God. Then we have one called 55 Canceri, whatever. It's the diamond planet. It's
rains glass sideways. Alright, bro. No, like, I would get you said like rain glass sideways. It's crazy.
Twice the size of Earth, and it's just covered in super hard diamonds all over it.
Now, whoever finds this planet first, obviously, it's going to be really rich. But at the same time, if the pressure on that is that high, the whole planet is diamonds. Realistically, unless we're so advanced, we have some like insanely durable machines. No chance you're getting to this planet to mine any. Because if you do, you're gonna be the world's first, probably like quadrillionaire. A whole planet made of diamonds. But the pressure's so high that you'll probably never get there. You'll probably never mine any.
Because the pressure and the temperature is so intense, gas liquid, and it has ice that is so hard it acts as a certain type of metal. I don't know any of this shit, but it did change scientists' perception of what a planet can be because it's 25% rock and 75% water, which does not make sense on a planetary scale. So, you know, no, we don't know anything. Last but not least, we have Gliese 436, otherwise known as, and this is not a joke, the burning ice planet. Riddle me that. It's this planet that's covered in this super thick layer of dense ice, but in the middle of it is a magma core, which doesn't make any goddamn sense. And this weird setup creates a new form of matter called hot ice. What? Scientists are quoted as being flabbergasted about this new form of planet, and they're trying to come up with some physics bullshit explanation to make this shit work in our current understanding of the universe. And you know what they're gonna do? They're not gonna do that. We cannot figure this shit out. None of it makes sense. So in conclusion, I have made zero progress throughout this video. I thought maybe I would kind of like joke around and come up with something that makes me feel better. Nothing happened. I just feel worse. In conclusion, you should be more scared, I guess. This was very unproductive for both me and you. Just start living like you're on borrowed time. Buy a lottery ticket. Rob a convenience store, you know, because the meteor is going to hit any minute. The chances of getting hit by a meteor are so unbelievably high. You need to be worried about it. Take out a credit card. Run those numbers up. Put the credit card in your toddler's name and make him have a terrible credit score, because he's probably not going to see the day where he has to pay that debt. New videos every Saturday. Thank you for watching, and the big yellow one is the sun. Thank you so much.
Oh man, that was a good video though. That dude makes really good stuff.
Right now, as you're watching this, a visitor from another star system is sailing past Jupiter and making its way to the inner planets at 137,000 miles an hour. It was discovered on July 1st, and within days, there were headlines and social media posts proclaiming that it could be an alien spaceship. And they usually cited the Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, who published a paper that suggested it might be, quote, evil alien technology. Now, to be fair, Loeb and his team, they do make it clear.
I've uncovered compelling evidence that back in 2006, a genuine time traveler appeared from all the way back in the 1950s. And he's not the only one to claim such a miraculous feat. So start up your TARDIS and get ready for a mind-bending look at some of the most convincing and bizarre tales of time travel I could find.
That's the only problem. Unless you literally brought something from the future, no one would believe you. Like, even if you said an event that's gonna happen, they're not gonna believe you until that happens, and then they'll still question it. Unless you literally brought, like, let's say one of our current computers back to 1950, they're not believing you.
The Man from Kiev. Before we jump in, let me just set something straight. Time travel is 100% definitely possible. There, I said it. How do I know this? Well, according to Albert Einstein's theory of relativity, time and space are intrinsically linked, and the faster you travel, the slower you experience time. But don't take his word for it. Scientists tested the theory by putting one clock on a fast-moving airplane and another on the ground. After the plane completed a trip, they compared the two. The clock in the plane ended up slightly behind the one on the ground. Whoa. This doesn't mean we've got the technology to jump hundreds of years into the future right now, but it sure makes you think, doesn't it? And with that in mind, let me tell you the remarkable case of Sergei Ponomarenko. April 2006, in the Ukrainian city of Kyiv, a man dressed in an old-timey outfit carrying a retro camera was spotted wandering the streets looking utterly confused. The mysterious stranger stumbled around for a while, seemingly in shock, before bumping into a couple of police officers.
No. I feel like I said earlier, but claiming you're from the future, you'd be way harder. Like, show it, and like, I'm talking about if you show it, it's gonna be way harder because no one's gonna believe you. But now that I think about it from the past, you can't really bring anything to prove it because they're just gonna think, oh, it's vintage. Oh, no, he's just like old. Or no, that's just your grandpa's stuff. Like, you can't bring no item from the past to now to prove it. And you're like, oh, well, this, and this, and this happened in. Everyone already knows it's happened because it's in the past. Like I said, if you bring an item from the future, they're probably going to believe you. But now I think about it, to prove you're from the past is even harder.
Nervously, he asked them for directions, only the place he asked about no longer existed. Then he followed up with a question that would make their head spin. What year is it? He asked again and again. Growing tired of his incessant ramblings, the policeman arrested the strange man on the spot. Sometime later, our enigmatic gentleman was sat in police custody, being questioned. He identified himself as one Sergei Ponomarenko, and claimed he was from the year 1958. What? Obviously, the cops didn't believe him. But then he handed him his ID, and things got much, much weirder. The identification had been issued by the Soviet Union, which Ukraine hadn't been a part of since 1991, 15 years before. But Sergei looked no older than 30, and the birth date on the ID card read 1932. Something was very, very wrong.
And the thing is, if he's a time traveler, like I said, no one's gonna believe you. Even with something like this. It might be very convincing. No one's gonna believe you. But if, like, let's say, like, obviously, let's say it was fake or something, why would you lie about that? You just have no reason. just farming for attention.
Well, according to Sergei, he'd been on a walk with his fiancée, Valentina Kurish, when he noticed a strange bell-shaped object in the sky. Mesmerized, he grabbed his camera and took a snapshot of the erratically flying object. Only immediately after the flash, he found himself transported forward in time to the same spot in 2006. And that's when the officers had found him. Well, safe to say, they were having none of it, and Sergei was sent to a psychiatrist for a proper evaluation. Now, his claims definitely sound crazy, but did he have any proof? Well, actually, yeah. Sergei's psychiatrist, Dr. Kutrikov, took his camera and called a photography expert in to see if there really were any photos of this strange bell-shaped object on there. First off, the camera itself was found to be totally authentically vintage. Secondly, the film inside was in near-perfect condition, despite being so old that it couldn't easily be developed with contemporary technology. Indeed, it had gone out of production back in 1970. And when the guy did manage to develop the film, he was even more flabbergasted. The photos were indeed of Kiev in the 1950s. One showed Sergei posing in the same outfit he was arrested in, another with a young woman, and another of, there it was, the infamous bell. Was Sergei telling...
And see, like, this is insanely convincing. But even with all this proof, he still went to the asylum. Like I said, no one will believe you no matter how much proof you have. Because that's how skeptical people are. It doesn't matter because people still think this isn't possible. Frankly, it probably isn't. Like, I'm not gonna say I'm not skeptical. Even though there's a lot of, like, proof. No one believed him. Still went to an insane asylum. They probably said he was on drugs or something. He was smoking that za. He was off that Cracker Jack, bro. He was off that crystal. But, and he had the most proof ever. He literally had a picture of everything. He said it would happen. But people were like, oh, you forged it, because this is insane, bro. In fact, if this actually happened to him, and no one believes him, imagine how you'd feel going to an asylum being called crazy for some event that happened to you that no one would believe.
And, well, that was it. He was never seen again. That's right, chucked you a curveball there, didn't I? Sergei was confirmed via CCTV to have returned to his room as normal, but once inside, he completely vanished. Seriously, the door never opened again, yet bars on the window should have made escape impossible. Regardless, when he was next checked up on, he was gone. Man, a time traveler and a magician? What next? Well, now the police had a missing person case on their hands. In an effort to learn more about the mysterious character, they looked up old records from Soviet-era Ukraine. Lo and behold, there had been a Sergei Ponomarenko living in the country at the time, and he'd been declared missing. In 1960 rather than 1958, but the coincidence was still very spooky. At a dead end, but determined to find answers, the officers decided to look up...
So, welcome to the chat. But the fact that they also found it too, so they're kind of proving him right. Now, it would be cool if he actually was a time traveler, but most likely it's fake, even though with all that proof.
Sergei's supposed fiancée, Valentina Kurish. Some hardcore sleuthing later, they couldn't believe their eyes when they eventually located just such a woman. It was time to pay her a visit. After knocking on the door, they watched with amazement as a 70-year-old woman answered. Could it really be her? She explained that her fiancé Sergei did go missing in 1958, but that he'd returned to her a few days later saying he'd seen into the future. It was her. Apparently, Sergei had become a bit of a local celebrity.
Chat might be becoming a believer in the time travel like stuff, because I personally don't think it's really possible. But after this bro's story, I mean, kind of gotta believe a little bit in it. There's a lot of theories that sound good, that sound like and then just turn out to be pretty much just shit. But this one, I mean, I always wanted time travel to be real. It'd be really cool.
After his time jump, telling stories of future tech he spied during his trip. But he didn't stick around forever. He vanished again in the 1970s, this time never to return. Following this reveal, Valentina provided the investigators with some new photos, one of which supposedly showed Sergei stood in Kyiv in the year 2050. Check out the skyline. That's way more advanced than it is in present day. Man, this guy sure got around. Was that where he went when he disappeared for good? If so, how did Valentina get hold of the photo? Or did he time travel more than twice? How had he even time traveled in the first place? Where was he now? He could literally be anywhere, hundreds or even thousands of years into the future. Oh, my head hurts. So the mystery was never solved, Sergei was never seen again, and the story became legendary. So legendary that it was even featured on a Ukrainian TV show named Aliens, where the events were recreated. That's where that CCTV footage came from. But that leaves us with a question. Where's all the actual evidence? The CCTV footage, the photo of his ID card, the photo of Sergei from 2050? Shock horror, they were all just recreations. And not even particularly convincing ones. The CCTV feed displays the date Wednesday, 23rd April 2006, but if you check that date, it was actually a Sunday. The real footage is suspiciously nowhere to be found. As well as this, the ID card has...
See, that's the problem now. It's all from a movie. It's another reason why some people might not believe it. Because you can make anything in a movie. It could be fiction. Like, I don't know if it was real. See, time travel's really cool. Do I believe it's possible? No. Oh, wish it was possible? Yeah, kinda. Because you never know if you're living in an alternate timeline.
several inaccuracies, and as for that image of Sergei in 2050, well, several of the skyscrapers are just cloned through Photoshop. But hold on, they were only ever supposed to be recreations, right? So this crazy tale could still be true. Technically, yes, but there's a chance the Ukrainian show didn't recreate the events at all and actually just invented the whole affair and presented it as fact. They're not exactly the most reputable source, and any real evidence for the story is yet to show up. It's all smoke and mirrors, and in all honesty though, we just don't know. Maybe we never will. But what do you think? Is this the single most convincing time travel story ever? Or is it just an urban legend blown way out of proportion? Let me know in the comments below. Thought that was the only tale I'd have for you, did ya? Ha! Get a load of this. A wartime wonder. In 1935, a British air marshal named Sir Robert Victor Goddard, and yes, that is a real photo of him this time, was out on a routine flying mission. But it would wind up being anything but routine. See, Goddard was traveling from Scotland back to his home base in Andover, England, and while soaring back home, he flew over a derelict airbase near Drem. This once bustling military station had long ago been converted into farmland and was now overgrown and largely abandoned. While he was glancing at the hangars below, Goddard was shocked to see a storm rolling in out of nowhere. But not just any storm, oh no. These clouds were an otherworldly brown and yellow color with violent winds blowing from within them. In an instant, Goddard lost control of his plane and plummeted down through the clouds. But the faster he careened through them, the deeper he seemed to go. Eventually he emerged, panicked and sweating, but very much alive. Managing to wrestle back control of the plane, he found himself face to face once again with the airbase, only this time, things were a little different. It wasn't so abandoned. What? In fact, far from the derelict field he'd seen before, there now was a fully functioning airbase bursting with activity and workers assembling strange planes that got... Years passed and Goddard's story became well known, but why would anybody believe it? Well, by 1939, something wild happened. The airbase near Drem was renovated, and not only was it back in action, but yellow planes and blue overalls became the RAF's norm. Whoa. Everything that Goddard saw came true. So back in 1935, had he briefly jumped forward in time? The pilot himself claims he must have flown through a time slip, which is kind of like a blip in space-time that can send you to another point in history. If that sounds unbelievable, it's because it is, and many people reckon he was either hallucinating or made the whole thing up for attention. But me, I'm not too sure. It's doubtful an RAF pilot would make silly things up like that, let alone one as celebrated and respected as Victor Goddard. A random hallucination seems equally unlikely, and how do you explain what he saw actually coming true? Simple coincidence?
Like, the fact that it actually came true, you know, he might have, you know, like, if it just happened, and it's like, he could have been hallucinating if it didn't come true. The fact that it came true, you might think he jumped forward for a few seconds.
Goddard went on to become
It's not as convincing as the last one, but at least this one's real and not, you know, probably made up by those movie directors.
a firm believer in the paranormal, and he even wound up writing books on the subject. I have to say, whether what he saw was real or not, I do believe he at least thought it was. Now, I can't guarantee I'll be able to help you time travel, but I can guarantee you a good time. Why not drop a like and subscribe to the channel today? That way you'll never miss out on another crazy video just like this one. All done? Awesome. Let's dive back in. The Time Authority. Now, there's been a whole host of people who have claimed to be the very first time traveler captured on film. But this next guy, known under the pseudonym as Dziga Vertov, has actually developed a following of true believers. In a YouTube interview from 2014, he shared his story.
Okay. So how long, just give me a general sense, is your future from now?
I'm from the 30th, but that's all I'm going to tell you. I'm operating a little bit under the radar here because there are plenty of people who don't approve of fraternizing with historic citizens.
By the 30th, he's referring to the century he's from, so around the year 3000. Unfortunately, he doesn't confirm if they live underwater, but goes on to say he concealed his identity during the interview to keep off the radar of an organization called the Time Authority. Now stick with me here. According to Vertov, the Time Authority is incredibly powerful and works to ensure time travelers and ordinary people don't change the set.
Okay, bro. Now this one he pulled this junk straight off a movie. He pulled that junk straight off a movie. Alright.
Path of history. To achieve this, they can wipe your memory or even trap you in a perpetual cell while a clone is sent out to replace you. Yeesh. So, if he can be believed, Vertov risked a lot to do the interview. But why? Well, it wasn't for anything positive, that's for sure. It came with a warning.
Your children and great-grandchildren.
Dude got that junk straight off The Flash. Because pretty much the same junk happens when they time travel. Maybe a different movie. Because there's plenty of time travel movies. With like time cops and stuff. But The Flash is like they send off the wraiths. Whenever it's time travel and they mess the shit up. Like the Speed Force sends off wraiths to kill off that speedster. It's pretty much essentially the same thing. Oh, you time travel, you mess it up. The Time Authority gets you. Probably get executed. Like, it's the same stuff that's happening in multiple movies.
Children will certainly see catastrophe.
Ah, nice. Apparently, in the near future, society will collapse and money will cease to exist. However, Vertov also is
Dude, jump straight off like this has happened in multiple TV shows and movies. Oh my god. Yeah, this guy's got the main character syndrome. He thinks he's in a movie.
assured us that eventually we'll rebuild and learn how to harness limitless resources. Oh, okay then. The interviewer was understandably skeptical of these claims, especially when our future friend refused to offer any proof. Vertov didn't exactly take this skepticism well though, and stormed off set never to be seen again. Did he jump back into his time machine and decide the past wasn't worth revisiting? We may never know. But you only have to glance at the comments to see how many people are certain he was the genuine article. I'll be honest, I'm skeptical. Without proof, it's hard to believe anything this man said, but then again, would bringing proof have altered the timeline and angered the so-called Time Authority? Perhaps. I'm more interested in why his language and pattern of speech doesn't appear to be any different to ours despite living 10 centuries in the future.
Exactly. Oh my god. The fact that he doesn't want to offer any proof, he could expect no one to believe him. And to be no language change over almost 1,000 years. What? Come on now. Dude, some Time Authority, I could bet at you I could find it in the movie.
Yeah, jury's out on this one. A very long nap. Ever heard a story of a coma patient waking up and being amazed by how much the world has changed? Well, as crazy as it must be to wake up 20 years later, Paul Amadeus Dynock can one-up that feat. In 1921, he fell into a coma only to wake up in the year 3906. Holy cow, how's that for time travel? Right, so
No, let me guess, he pinched himself. It was a freaking dream. You back in your 1921 hospital. It would, you think that something this advanced, you think if you jump there in time and stuff, they're just letting you go back? No. They're not just letting you go back.
a little background. Dynock was a Swiss teacher born in 1884. He fell madly in love with a woman who ended up leaving him for a rich man, sending him into a deep depression. Then in 1917, he was diagnosed with encephalitis lethargica, the sleeping disease. Man, can this guy catch a break? Because of the disease, he found himself randomly falling unconscious for long periods of time, culminating in the infamous coma of 1921. This time when Dynock awoke, he was in a hospital, but one completely unlike the Zurich hospital he'd been comatose in. And the location wasn't the only thing that had changed. He was in a completely different body. Dynock found himself inhabiting the form of a physicist named Andreas Northam, who was recovering from an accident. Dynock and Northam's body couldn't understand the language that the hospital staff spoke, but could see past events through Northam's memories. Because of this, he learned that he was in the year 3906 and that after our time, violence, poverty, and overpopulation had crippled humanity to the point a catastrophic nuclear war had broken out. But it got better. In the aftermath, our species rebuilt under a new world government, one with true equality and prosperity. Then it got really weird. Strange spiritual entities visited Earth and brought enlightenment to humanity.
Tell dude to get off the gas station pills, bro. Tell dude to get off the perks. Alright. Dude's smoking 1,000 milligrams. Alright. Dude, he's literally just saying the plot of some TV show or movie.
Was essentially a utopia. Heck, people only worked for 2 years and then retired. Think of all the free time I'd have to Morse dance. While living in the future, Dynock fell in love with a woman who he believed was the reincarnation of his lost love. But it wasn't to last.
Bro thinks he's in an isekai. Oh, the time I got reincarnated as my okay. The time I got reincarnated into the future, bro. Starting out as level 1, getting to level 99.
Forever. Finally, after a year of utopia, he suddenly awoke back in the year 1922. That must have been a culture shock. Being an intellectual, Dynock didn't tell anybody about his experience for fear of being called crazy. So, how did we ever find out? Well, after he awoke, he wrote all of his experiences down in a diary, then moved to Greece and started teaching there. While there, he passed.
The only thing is, he probably wrote that. Some people might confuse it. He was probably writing a plot of a story. He's like a teacher and stuff. Even though that might have been his experiences, reading it or saying it, no one's still gonna believe you either. Now if they find it in a book, think, oh, he must have been writing like a story.
On the diary to his favorite student, George Papahatsis, for him to read over. Despite being told never to share the work, however, Papahatsis ended up betraying his teacher and publishing it in 1972. Wow. Whether you agree with his decision or not, we'd never have heard about it otherwise, which is precisely the problem. Some claim
Was this guy just the first one to make an isekai?
that Papahatsis had actually just written a work of fiction and framed it as fact for publicity. In which case, wait for it, Dynoc was never real, just a literary device. And sure enough, there are no records of Dynoc ever actually existing. Indeed, a photo commonly associated with the guy was found to just be a criminal from New Zealand. Pretty sus, right? Others think that Dynoc did exist and he did have that wild experience, but it wasn't time travel, it was just an incredibly vivid dream. Coma patients have been known to have these larger-than-life dreams, so it's not outside the realm of possibility. But what about the more interesting option? Could Dynoc have actually seen the world of tomorrow? Did he even exist? I guess there's only one way to find out. Wait and see if his predictions start coming true. We might be waiting a while, though. Future photo. Okay, we might need to be wearing our tinfoil hats for this next one. Back in 2018, a man named Alexander Smith appeared in a handful of videos on the YouTube channel Apex TV, and he had a confession. Can you guess? Alex claimed he was a time traveler. Okay, maybe that wasn't the hard.
Could never guess that one. Yeah, I could never guess that one.
Hardest guess. Supposedly, the CIA had sent him on a top-secret mission back in 1981, when he had to travel through time to the year 2118. What that mission was exactly, he was tight-lipped about. But when he returned, the CIA weren't happy. The traveler claimed he had to go into hiding, and they've been hunting him down ever since.
But I'm living in hiding. They aren't gonna find me. Yes, I did tell my family about the story, but only after I said it on video recording.
Okay, so what do we have to go on here other than his word? Well, Smith produced a photo from his pocket that was apparently a copy of one confiscated from him by the CIA. See, when he was in
Bro, literally a PNG bro got off of Google.
2118, he'd snapped the futuristic cityscape. At least that's what he says. That pic is far too blurry to really see anything of note. Regardless, he claimed that he'd been sitting on this evidence since way back in the 80s, as he didn't think the world was ready to see it. No idea why he thought 2018 of all years was the right time, but whatever. He went on to urge humanity to deal with climate change, implying he'd seen a future where it ravaged the globe. Wouldn't you want to tell people that as soon as possible rather than hanging around? I don't know though, that photo doesn't look like it depicts a ravaged city. Not that you can tell, of course. Supposedly it's only blurry though, because that's what happens when you travel through time. Sure it is, bud. On top of that, the guy does a constantly wavering American accent that I'm wholly unconvinced by.
This picture was the city I walked in. I'll never forget when I took that picture. It was right outside the city.
Yeah, that alongside that weird mask thing he's wearing, and I think it's pretty safe to say old Alexander was just a chancer looking for his 15 minutes of fame. Unless that's just what happens to your face when you travel through time, of course. Sorry, but I just had to include this for the sheer hilarity of it. Buskill Man, away! Sinkhole. If you thought time traveling through your dreams was wacky, buckle your seatbelts. In a 2006 documentary, a Swedish fella named Håkan Nordqvist regaled the world with his own insane time travel experience. Supposedly, one day he'd noticed a leak underneath his sink, so he promptly grabbed his tools and got to work. As he reached in to fix it, however, he was confused to find the back of the sink seemed to move away from him, as if by magic. Further and further he reached until he realized he'd have to crawl under it to get to the leaky spot. So down he went, but suddenly a blinding white light erupted from out of nowhere and rapidly engulfed him. When it faded away, Håkan wasn't in the kitchen anymore. Our guy was now outside and somebody was standing in front of him. someone he recognized. With a lurch in his stomach, Hakan realized he was staring at himself. Only an older version. This other him was delighted to see his former self, and although young Hakan was incredibly confused, the duo quickly got to chatting. Knowing nobody would believe him, the younger man took his cell phone out and filmed the interaction. Yep, they even had matching tattoos. After having the time of his life, though, Hakan had to return to his own time to share his story. And since the documentary first aired, it's been causing a stir on the internet ever since, with many people utterly convinced. Only is everything as it seems? In the doc, he never actually says how he returned. And it seems pretty convenient that the footage we have is just blurry enough that you can't properly make out the future fella's face, doesn't it? True, cell phone cameras were pretty poor back then, but he could have got a better angle. What's more, skeptics were quick to point out that the matching tattoos both look far too fresh. Wouldn't the older man's be more worn? Well, these are all valid questions, because it was eventually revealed that this
Yeah, the tattoo would be a lot more stretched and stuff, because when you get tattoos when you're younger, as you get older, they stretch out and stuff. They look way different. Yeah, that's fresh, bro. They got that junk like a day before filming it.
whole thing was just one big publicity stunt. Oh man. Yep, it was run by insurance company AMF for their pension plans. Because I don't know, nothing sells insurance like time travelers, I guess. Don't worry, I'm confused too. Mysterious messages. You wouldn't have thought it, but back in 1984, a dusty old cottage in the English village of Dawdleston was about to play host to one of the wildest accounts of time travel I've ever heard. Teacher Ken Webster was living there with his girlfriend Debbie and their long-term guest Nicola. They were renovating the property when they noticed some strange six-toed footprints on the floor and walls. Dismissing it as a prank, they ignored the odd footprints, but things got weirder. Inexplicable cold spots started appearing throughout the cottage. The trio noticed strange shadows flickering across the walls, and on several occasions they walked into a room to find tins of cat food stacked neatly in a pyramid. Okay. Doing their best to ignore the strange happenings, they soldiered on until one day everything changed.